That is not the right one. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we need to go up a little bit here. Let's just go ahead and scoot ours up. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning from America, and welcome to Elimination Day here for the Summit 3 Europe. Oh, it's going to be a good one. NiP versus Navi to get things started off. A best of 3, but these teams fighting for survival. Somebody's going home early, LD.
Oh yeah, this is a big match for both teams. NiP looked like a team that might have been able to make their way straight into the winner bracket finals, or and then have a direct shot at playing in, but fell a little bit short yesterday versus ASUS.Polar. Frankly, I thought they could take the series, but it seemed like in a couple of those clutch moments just didn't quite have the execution right. But we know they have the potential to go all the way. Navi, I think they're the team. As funny, I guess at this point it's not really that crazy to think of, but it used to be. It would have been crazy to say that Navi has a lot to prove, and well, they certainly do here. They come in to me as underdogs, but still a series that both teams are capable of playing as they get more of winning. As they get more comfortable playing with Sunico, I expect we will see Navi continue to improve. For now, it looks like Dendi at least officially in the drafter's seat, so I am curious to see how the draft progresses from here. That Night Stalker, though, man, this seems to be a very popular pick, trending as of late in Europe.
Navi's turn to pick.
All right, we'll just double check here. And yeah, there's our open mic for Dota TV. So we're going strong. We should be in good shape here. So, Navi with Sunico. I haven't actually got to see too many of their games since they picked him up, but I've read some of the Navi fandom online, and folks seem pretty excited to see him in the mix. The team seems to be at least in good spirits for now, maybe still in that honeymoon phase a little bit, but good to see Navi in a better state, as they've still had so many roster issues over the past weeks, I guess past months really at this point. But Troll Earthshaker, pretty safe opening. Can't really go wrong with that one. Tried and true, I think.
No, the Havost Troll, you know, this is a classic Havost hero. Very, very comfortable in the hero. I think it's, as we all know, Troll's strong in this patch. He can pretty much do it all. He can go late if he needs to. He can take Rosh early. He can push. He can end games quickly. This hero is a jack of all trades and a master of all trades, I would say, too.
Yeah, that's
except magic damage. That's the one thing he doesn't have.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't handle lockdown so well, at least before he gets his BKB. But yeah, just not a fun guy. Not a fun guy indeed. Bristleback for NiP. So far, a pretty open-ended draft. Good mix of control, magic damage, and physical damage. They've kind of got the best of all worlds at this point. How do NiP run their Night Stalker? I'm trying to remember the last time I saw them do this. One of the great things about picking him up this early is that he's so flexible. You can put him in kind of a support role. We've seen like the screen style of the aggro try. You can put him in the off lane, and you can even safe lane him if you really are feeling bold and confident in your Night Stalker's ability to make plays happen.
How do they run their Night Stalker? I'm gonna say I don't think they've been running it that much. In fact, in the last 10 games, they have yet to play it. He's a very popular hero right now in this patch. It seems like he's kind of trending upwards, but I don't.
Okay, but they haven't.
If they have run it, it's not recently. And I mean, the kind of the go-to way has been is that 4-position support. It's something that we've seen Big Daddy doing for Cloud9.
Yeah.
Before he was doing it, a lot of the CIS teams were running the hero. We saw it offline quite a bit. I think Yoki played a little bit. I think DK Phobos was playing it back for ASUS.Polar as well, but. At this point, it looks like, well, actually, it looks like it could go either way. It could be offlane Night Stalker, could still be a support. The Zeus Night Stalker, also both capable of playing that support role. I would lean towards the Night Stalker core and a Zeus support, but you never know, man. These two are pretty interchangeable at this point.
Yeah, and even that Queen of Pain, we've seen her play a variety of roles, solo mid, not so much solo safe lane, but we've seen her play the off lane very well, and even on that more greedy 4 position where she's moving around and supporting, but also just farming the jungle and utilizing all of her spells to find pickoffs in the lane. So they could put her in some sort of a flexy role and have her move around a little bit. But I think more likely your mid laner here rather. Though we saw a solo mid Bristleback yesterday in Star Ladder America, so all these heroes really quite versatile. Navi though, they'll get the Space Cow with their 4th, so now that's their off laner most likely, and they've got some cross the map initiation to play around with.
Yeah, this is something that we've seen NiP also running is the Space Cow. Goes really well with the Troll. He benefits a lot from the attack speed. He obviously is a good initiator, and when you're running a Troll, if you want to run him as your 1 position, it's really nice to have someone else who can start the fights rather than the troll being all the damage and also being the hero that runs in first, puts that bullseye on his back, and can be kind of kited, controlled, and dealt with fairly early on. So, yeah, with this pick, it does look like a core Spirit Breaker, probably headed to the offlane. The troll still could go mid or safe. Generally, it's Savos who plays it for Navi. And, well, the sniper's banned, so kind of the classic partner for the troll is not there for Dendi. As far as Dendi heroes go, NiP will go ahead and remove the Templar Assassin from the pool, but it's getting to be slim pickings at this point in the draft.
Yeah, what does Dendi turn to here? Do we see something a little more old school, maybe like a puck? That's a Dendi classic that comes to mind. That could be okay here. They could certainly use some magic damage. Dream Coil, good setup for the troll. Puck mid is certainly fallen off in popularity, but I guess it could be a Magnus game, maybe. 2 melee on the side of NiP. Well, there's their 5th. It's the Lich. A little bit of Frost to go with their team. Still don't know who their second support is, but good lane control here and some more team fight with that Chain Frost ready to be bouncing around.
Yeah, Frost Armor will be great this game. Troll, Spirit Breakers, the vast majority of your damage output from Navi. Just with right clicks, the Dazzle Weave and the minus armor there, well, you still have to deal with the attack speed slow, as well as the move speed slow from the Lich Frost Armor. So I think this is a pretty potent pick by NiP. And I would say he matches up pretty well late game against Navi even. Now, of course, when you run the Lich, he's a very passive support, doesn't really offer a whole lot of lockdown, but as the game moves along, I feel like that Frost Armor is going to be more and more valuable to NiP.
Okay, how did we forget about the Shadow Fiend still in the pool here?
Well, I guess NiP decided it's the lesser of the other evils out there.
Well, a nice safe pick for Dendi. And with an Earthshaker mid, should be no problem. We'll have that babysitter there to keep him safe. Henskin will be the one to pick up the Night Stalker, so he will be the one on the 4. Era grabs the Quap, probably headed safe lane, I would imagine. And Limp is on the Zeus here. So,
okay, so
there you go.
Interesting. We'll see I guess the mid Zeus, the safe lane Quap for Era.
And the off-lane Bristle.
Now, this is not something Era has been playing very often. Let's see.
He almost only plays mid if it's the Shadow Fiend. Other than that, he tends to go safe lane carry.
Apparently he played it against Elysium Gaming 2 days ago a couple of times, but I can't recall having seen him play this much as of late. It's been like all troll for him. I think he played it 3 times versus ASUS.Polar yesterday. And one of them, it felt like he was 1v9 en route to carrying his team.
It's hard to pass up that troll, man. If he gets left in the pool, he's just, as you pointed out, he's really the jack of all trades. You can put him mid, you can put him safe lane, very flexible, and I've seen games with Era where it looks like all hope is lost, and he just stays calm, puts his head down, and just farm on that troll. And before you know it, the tides slowly turn, and 20, 30 minutes later, that troll comes out of the jungle big and bad as if he's been working out that whole time. Muscles bigger, face a little redder, and axe is a little sharper. So we'll move into a pause to get things started. Looks like Navi going to need just a minute here. But I like both these drafts in Game 1. I think both teams with pretty solid lineups here. Navi's maybe a little bit easier to execute with, just the nature of Troll, Shadow Fiend, Spirit Breaker. Troll hits R, and they're ready to kill something. Doesn't get too much easier than that, to be honest.
Yeah, the intergalactic bash lord.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just smack things with your big lantern.
Yeah. NiP Lich, a little more finesse required, I think, but a hero that can be very, very potent if you can kind of starve out your enemies in their lanes and really secure a lot of early farm for your cores there.
Yeah, I think the Shadow Fiend pick really rounds out the draft nicely. They have so much right-click going into that pick, and now they get a hefty dose of magic damage. Plus, obviously, he's great with the Troll, so I think it really balances out their damage types. The only concern is that perhaps the Shadow Fiend could get run over in the mid-game. Around that time when, you know, like the Zeus hits level 6, your Night Stalker gets his first nighttime, and the Queen of Pain may be on the move if Era is able to find a good rune or an opportunity to tower dive. That's where Shadow Fiend can be squishy and a bit vulnerable. But if he survives that stage of the game, if the Spirit Breaker can create some space, the Earthshaker can help them hold their towers, and Dazzle's ready to TP in with a timely grave. You get to that point where Shadow Fiend has something like a BKB, a Yule Scepter, a mech, like at least 1, maybe 2 of those items. Then Navi are in really good shape to take this late, to outfarm NiP, and I think I wouldn't say they definitely have the late game, because NiP have that Zeus scouting and the Night Stalker Ags, like just ridiculous map control lineup. But
yeah,
as far as damage output goes, and especially just man fighting power, they're going to be lacking. At some point, that Bristle generally struggles to handle a troll Spirit Breaker combo in a head-on fight.
All NiP need is a Luna on their team, and they've got one of those vision baselines. I think we saw that in NA the other day, where like Aghanim's Night Stalker with the Zeus scouting, and then Luna for all that yummy night vision. Your team is just a walking ward at that point. Once you can get all those items up, most namely that Aghanim Scepter. So should be interesting. Zeus, one of those heroes that goes towards the late game. You don't really think of as a good late gamer, but his power curve dips down to that mid game and then just comes right back once that static charge becomes, or static field rather, becomes very scary towards the late game.
Yeah, it is a great spell. And, well, Limp definitely has the front line. He's got the Bristleback and the Night Stalker. These are the two heroes who want to be in front, make sure that their precious little squishy Zeus is safe from any harm, as he will grab Bounty Rune bottom. Looks like Dendi going to match him by grabbing the top.
Okay.
So it's going to be the Zeus versus Shadow Fiend matchup. A matchup that Shadow Fiend should have a really good time in, should get a lot of early farm, and unless he gets ganked, should probably not die. The Shadow Fiend is the better rune control with the more spammable, well, not more spammable, but the easier time pushing out the waves, and at the same time, they're not going to give him that 1v1. They're going to dual lane mid with the Night Stalker, at least to start.
I like this, though. Even if Hanskin doesn't stick around, just poking in early and harassing Dendi, forcing him to chew through that early tango, gives Limp just that little edge he needs to stop Dendi from taking over the lane straight away. And you can already see the difference of the two supports here. Even though the Earthshaker is great at peeling, can stop a fight if they go hard on to Dendi, Hanskin can do a little more to zone him out with that spammable spell in the Void, whereas Earthshaker, a little more of a one-and-done kind of guy at this stage of the game, with only 2 clarities and his fissure.
It really punishes the early no talisman pickup, or in this case Wraithband, but the early like stats item pickups where you don't really have that much regen, you're not rushing a bottle, and man, are they punishing, or what? Hanskin gonna dive past the tier 1 tower.
I mean, that's what Night Stalker does best, 5 starting armor, and he doesn't care too much about getting chipped away by creeps. Vanscoy will use one of his fissures just to soften up Hanskin and try and make some space for Dendi, but yeah, this is a little bit of a struggle here for the Shadow Fiend. Dendi still holding his composure. Will continue to find last hits. Already 7-0, and actually the last hit leader here.
Yeah, it's Shadow Fiend nowadays. It just feels like it's so hard to shut this guy down early, unless you're a true just lane dominator. You know, Razor, potentially a Viper, something like that. Otherwise, he always seems to find a CS early, and at the very least, just uses Razes to get some souls, get some last hits, farm up the bottle, and then he can move into the jungle. So for NiP, they won't be too worried about this. It's more for them about just slowing Dendi down a little bit, and more importantly, I think looking to punish him later on in the game. Once they have the Night Stalker level 6 or nighttime, is Saniko going to get caught out here by Hanskin? There's your body block. He does grave, well timed, but can Dendi force Hanskin and Limp back? Limp wants to go for the Chain Lightning just a split second early, it looked like.
That was pretty close.
Unable to grab the frag.
Fortunately for Hanskin, out of mana, so didn't have a Void to throw out. Certainly could have secured the kill there. Very close call, but Shallow Grave comes in handy, and it's all the Dazzle needs to stay alive. Let's check in on the side lanes, though. Looks like both off-laners having a comparable time. DK Phobos on the Spirit Breaker, 6-1. And on the Dire off-lane, it will be Jonas here on the Bristleback, and about on point with him, 7-1. So neither of them farming particularly well, but is at that same token, neither safe lane are really farming particularly well either. Both Havost and Era struggling a little bit, getting contested farm at this point. Not anything near the free farm that they're hoping for. You see Havost just kind of lingering nearby, and anytime he pokes forward, Seal Kid's there with a Frost Nova, ready to push him back and make his life difficult.
Yeah, looking at this offlane here for Navi, DK Phobos getting his early levels, and although it's a Queen of Pain versus a melee hero, generally a matchup where Queen of Pain will excel and harass you out of lane, Spirit Breaker's just so tanky. 6 armor, tons of HP early on, and he's able to survive for a while. His bottom lane, Saniko, wants to make a dive here. Era, or rather Havost. I'm so used to seeing Era on the troll, but Havost will get the range deck, slow out, and find the kill. The counter kill comes from the boss, though, and running in hard is going to be Hanskin and Vangscore. They find 2. Can they make it a 3rd? They're low on mana here. Jonas does not have his magic stick or any sort of mana regen, so they'll settle for that, but they're going to be pretty happy with how that little skirmish turned out.
Yeah, it ends up being a 1-for-2. Of course, first blood drawn by Navi, and who actually got it? It was the Dazzle, so it's still not ideal for Navi just in general. hoping perhaps that it goes to the troll and give Phobos a little bit of a buffer after this slow start. Well, still even. Bottle comes out onto the bristleback. You don't see that too often, or at least I haven't in the bristle games I got to cast in a few weeks.
Dendy, he's posting up here. He's almost in range for the triple raise, but could only get the double off there. And Limp has to be careful. This is a matchup where Zeus can feed. If he falls behind a little bit early, his move speed's pretty bad, a little bit slower than the Shadow Fiend. And you imagine Dendy getting a kill here, then he gets like a haste rune. That's another easy kill. And it is a matchup where Shadow Fiend can snowball.
Oh my, Phobos and Era, they just had a battle of chicken where they stood their ground and said, all right, who is going to leave first? Era seemed pretty confident, but Phobos, man, just bashed him in the face, and that was the end of it.
Looks like they want to dive here. It's the first nighttime. This may be a roaming support Night Stalker, but they're not afraid. Fissure is there. It's not really cooperating too much with the tower aggro. They get the one shot off on Jonas, but now he looks to retreat. They're going to void. Vangscore has the bottle charges. Jonas trying to bait them in a bit deeper. Everybody's got to be careful here for your Radiant squad, though, because Limp is closing in on his level 6. Dandy's done a nice job of slowing him down, though. The 7 denies, despite being dual laned. He's already clipped it, but as soon as the Thunder God's Wrath comes out, this lane could very easily turn.
Yeah, the power of the Fissure there from Vangscore just to break that fight up and get Jonas in the extra front line there, isolated from the rest of his team. That could have been a lot worse if they didn't have a Fissure ready to rock and roll. Phobos will charge down bottom after finding that kill up top. Looks like they want to give him a taste of their own medicine, and it is a 4v2 now. Their other support rotated mid. Handskin's nowhere to be found. Jonas will not get stunned. Okay, charge gets canceled, and Seal Kid, he's the target now. He gets blocked out by the Fissure. Hanskin will TP in, can't save his good buddy. Now they turn to Jonas. He has his back to the Radiant side, rather, makes it to the tower. Seneko hit by the Night Stalker, but that will be the end of it. Just a 1-for-0 with the Lich in the grave.
That's just a give me a bash, man. Give me a bash. Give me a bash. No bash. he has been maxing it out, which seems to be a pretty common build nowadays.
Yeah, the 1-3-3 or the 1-1-3. Jeez.
Yeah, the charge is something that we saw people experimenting with maxing, especially on support Spirit Breaker, but ultimately the cooldown's the same at all levels. You move a bit faster. It is a longer stun duration, but it still seems like just especially with the troll on your team, you get the max bash, he presses R, and you know, you may just insta-kill someone with 2-3 bashes in a row.
Yeah. This does seem to be the new AG build that makes Spirit Breaker just a little bit more potent. But while that time passed, Limp did find his level 6, and now the Thunder God's Wrath is there. And Navi need to just be a little bit more careful, especially during this night cycle. There is a little bit of time left on it. Hanskin sitting at the well for now, looking for his urn, and has not got it yet. Ultimately, not a very successful night cycle for him. Navi have done a very good job avoiding the fights and, well, putting some counter pressure on themselves. Era in the safe lane getting a lot of space as the Spirit Breaker has been all around the map, now mid. And the bashes come out onto Zeus. Hanskin will TP in. They really want to punish this. A series of TPs. Phobos the one getting slowed up here. Sonic Wave from Era, but Shallow Grave comes out, buys him some time, and Era does not commit any further. Phobos will take a dagger, but he should be able to survive in the well as he TPs out. Yep, he'll be good. And IP, they lose 1, but 3 TPs come in, and they can't even find a counter kill. It's Navi coming out ahead against once again.
Yeah, cool thing about going on the Zeus is he's one of the best heroes to punish those big tower dives where heroes drop low. You go on him first, you don't have to worry about the Thunder God's Wrath. Now, there may come a point this game in the laning stage, or even like the first 12 minutes to 15 minutes, where Limp can buy back and pop the ult and get a double or triple kill if Navi are playing that aggressively. But for now, all's good as Dendy is going to go mech build this time. It looks like we've seen the Yules build a little more popular in Europe, but this time they don't really have anyone else to build a mech. It's one of, I guess, a downside of the offlane Spirit Breakers. He's not that great at the utility item pickups as charging bottom, but that Frost Armor really negating what Phobos can offer in this fight. Phobos will just throw out the Willing Axes in case they look to dive, but yeah, they're content to back off. And I got to tell you that could be a sign of things to come with the Frost Armors. Vangscore will get wrapped around upon it. It may be daytime, but the Daystalker is still getting some stuff done here, at least trying to. Charge comes in. Could Exxon too. Jonas going to back off. They have no Zeus ult. It was already used just to try and get these heroes low. Phobos barely brought down by that final void. Earthshaker almost finished off as well. He'll retreat. He'll limp back to safety.
Yeah, a kill they much needed there. Thunder God's Wrath just not quite enough damage to find the series of kills they were hoping for. A decent fight for NiP, but definitely looking to get more out of it. And that whole time, Dendy still just farming up in the jungle. You mentioned the mech build. Yule's definitely been more popular in general. I think it's the more well-rounded build. Gives you just a little bit more, but mech gives you a huge advantage if you want to fight. If you reckon you'll be doing some 5-man sooner rather than later, you want to knock down some towers, or even just do a 4+1 to make some space for Havost, that's where the mech is really, really potent. It does make the Shadow Fiend very tanky in these early games.
Yeah, and they don't have like and they have good bursts, but there's not that many stuns on their team, so they're gonna have trouble preventing him from getting off the mech.
Down bottom, my oh my, the bristleback, it's just non-stop aggression. Phobos used the Nether Strike for that. They set up an easy kill. Fissure almost blocks out Seneko, and he's gonna go down, gets silenced, and Sonic Wave with an auto attack is enough for the kill. Era eyeing up Vanscore. He wants it, but he won't go for it. Low on mana.
They have a Stick Void, still low on mana. He gets bashed under tower. Handskin will end up getting turned on. What a play there by Havost. Oh, unfortunate. Handskin, he had the one stick charge. He popped it, and he was down to 6 mana short.
Wow, Navi are really turning up the heat here, LD. High octane play coming out from the Radiant side. Phobos, it feels like he is everywhere at once. Just as he charges bottom and finds a kill, he charges mid and sets up another one for Dendi. Shadow Fiend, just look at that net worth. He's 2K ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, this early mech is really going to cause problems for NiP. It's so good against their draft because, you know, as I was mentioning before the hectic fight broke out, looks like they may even try to dive Havost to your bottom, but they're starting to stack the quills up now, 3 stacks. I mean, what stuns do they have? They have Chain Frost and the Void mini stun, the Thunderbolt mini stun. They have ways to cancel TPs, but there's nothing to really prevent him from popping the mech in the fight. So it's almost a guaranteed mech unless they somehow just line up all their nukes instantly to burst him. And with that mech going off, that negates your Zeus ultimate, or just a single Queen of Pain nuke, which often can be the difference between your team getting wrecked and not as they charge. Again, this time on the top lane, Handskin going to be set up upon. Dendi will make short work of him. Navi coming out guns a-blazing here in game number 1.
Yeah, maybe the bigger problem for NiP is they just have no way to deal with this Spirit Breaker. Usually when you see him drafted, teams will try to pick up heroes like Rubik or Ember Spirit or even Earthshaker. Anyone that has a stun with either no cast point or a low cast point, so you see him cruising in and you just stun him up and it stops him dead in his tracks. That rocket ship runs out of fuel right quick, but here, NiP just have no way to stop it. All they can do is see him charging in and hope they can get under cover, have teammates TP in, and try and do what they can to mitigate his damage. They will trade some towers, tier 1 bottom for tier 1 top.
There's such a snowball lineup as well. Queen of Pain safe lane, Zeus mid, and the Bristleback off lane. These are all heroes that generally want at least a decent start to excel. The Bristle can catch up on Ancient, sure, but at the same time, you're dealing with a lineup that has control for a Bristleback. Lots of burst damage from the Shadow Fiend. 2 Bashlords with the Troll attack speed aura. The Dazzle ultimate, which I mean, it's going to be an excellent weave game. Not just offensively to buff up all their physical damage, but also defensively against the Bristle. And, you know, nobody's really snowballing on NiP right now. So I think Navi have to feel like they're in excellent shape. If it goes late, like I said, I wouldn't have ruled NiP's draft out automatically, but the way this game is developing, they're not really the best comeback lineup. Yeah, and they struggle to stay in it. They got to start fighting some fights soon. It is the second nighttime, and that would make it go time, but apparently it's only go time for one man, the Cow. DK Phobos at it again.
Yep, Lich is already dead, but now we'll see the Bristleback maybe in some trouble. He's got a double damage during the ult from Zeus, gets them all low. Vanscore trying to turn and run. Dendi will be there with his ultimate, channels it up to make some space, and that will spread apart. NiP opens up for Phobos to go charging on in.
Bristle wants to come back in
already. Ooh, buyback from the Zeus, though. He's already used his ultimate, will TP to the tier 1 mid. Bristle on one side, Phobos on the other, and it looks like they will finally bring down the Spirit Breaker, as well as the Earthshaker. Nice little turnaround here for NiP. Seems like the buyback from Limp was worth it to find those counter kills.
Yeah, those early game buybacks almost always worth it. Even if you're just like trading 2 for 1. At best, it's an even trade, but you get that juicy experience going your way.
Now they get him both, perhaps. Era blinks in very aggressively, hits him with the ultimate, but they don't have the damage.
That miss uphill.
Oh, the dagger, though. The Shadow Strike, it's going to be close. One more tick. Can anyone get here in time to save him? Nope, but they will get the deny. Nicely played by Vanscore.
I feel like Havost was maybe saying, no, I got this. I got my stick charge. But he had the one stick charge, but I think it was going to be like a half second late. And I'm not 100% sure if it wouldn't be enough. So safe play there just to deny him. Still, Havost will end up dying. He did not spend his gold, I don't think. Yeah, I don't see anything on the courier. So didn't really have a whole lot to work with. I just picked up this early Helm of Iron Will, but
Yeah.
You know, looking at that last fight in the river, I think the big problem for Navi was that Dendy didn't really have an opportunity for a good mech. He had to mech just to save the Shaker, who was sitting like over here down in the river, and Denny was over here. So he only got one hero. 3 other allies at half health that they were not able to mech.
Seal Kid in a little bit of trouble. That's a solo kill for Phobos. Dendy pops his face over, showing off that blink dagger. But
I don't know how many of these kills you've caught, but I feel like the recipe to not miss a kill this game is just to lock your camera onto DK Phobos.
I've actually been doing pretty well, but now Phobos, he's going to be in some trouble. He is silenced up, trying to make some space for a charge, and he will get it off. They just don't have the damage to bring him down in the duration.
I love the mech as he's driving by, too.
Oh,
it's just, Denny's like down in the river, throwing medical supplies, like stabbing needles in DK Phobos, like their darts being chucked at a board. And well, now they're going to try to push in mid. They have their mech. They can use the Dazzle ultimate. So everyone's fairly tanky here. That could change, though. There is a change for us ready. Zeus hold online. A lot of magic damage about to come out here from NiP. Boast will be the first man down. Era to follow it up. Saniko dropping low, has a grave. Doesn't even get it off, just ends up going down. 3 heroes for Navi. Just start to topple like a house of cards. And
LD, the Chain Frost crippling Navi in that fight. You could tell their guard. Which way is it going to bounce? Let's Delta split and then let's reconvene for the fight. And it just kept bouncing the wrong way. Every time they spread apart and then moved back together, it took the bounce in the worst way possible. If you're a Navi fan, that is. The best way possible if you're cheering for NiP. And that's a fight that could be the beginning of the turn. That'll be NiP finally taking a fight and getting some much-needed momentum.
Look at the damage done by the Zeus. The Zeus did 2,000 damage, roughly, and the Lich did 1,900, spread across all those heroes. That is a very potent nuking duo. And I think for Navi at this point, the key thing is really going to be to get some BKBs out. Maybe they don't get it right yet on Havost. He could just get like a tankier item, but especially for the Spirit Breaker or the Shadow Fiend. I mean, what physical damage does NiP really have? They have a Bristleback. That's it. So, as bad as it looks right now for Navi, when they get to that point in the game where they have their BKBs, I think their lineup hits another peak. Right now, they're kind of in a valley of NiP having all their ultimates online. Now they've got the level 2 Zeus ulti as well. They're very strong right now, but once BKBs come out, that will be a weak period for NiP, a strong phase for Navi that they can use to try to secure Roche, to find some additional kills, take objectives. But I think for now, they may be forced to be a little more selective about these fights. You can already see Dendy gearing up for one. Gets the Ogre Club on the Shadow Fiend. He may be the first man to grab the BKB because, you know, Havost is very poor. 4,500 net worth. He is not having one of those just 1v5 level troll games that we saw him picking up a lot of at DAC.
Yeah, it's turned into an awkward display here on the net worth chart where Dendy's the leading farmer who was mid, and then you have NiP who's leading farmer is actually their off laner. This Bristleback has kind of become their one, even though it was Quap that was in the safe lane. And then you've got the Zeus and the Troll who are farming evenly, who of course is the safe lane from Navi and the mid from NiP. So the farm distribution is even-ish outside of Dendy, who's pulling ahead from the pack, but it's kind of strange to see who's actually taken over where. This Bristle finding a lot of farm in kind of the strangest of places. He's been the one working the jungle. He's got a double stack right now, and he just went Vanguard Medallion, some great value items early on. Also has that Basilius for a little extra armor for his team.
Yeah, this really helps them Roche. They don't have a great Roche lineup. It's mostly magic damage. They don't have any minus armor, but the Medallion Bristle duo, you've got the Goo as well as the Medallion, so 2 sources of minus armor now. It makes them pretty decent at taking Roche if they ever win a fight.
Nice Ward Van score, says NiP. They see it go down, and Zeus will take care of that one quick.
That's kind of a gamble ward. You're walking down the river without being... I don't think he was smoked up, was he? If he was, it got revealed. But top lane, DK Phobos, able to find Era, does not get sufficient bashes. Havost even used his ultimate there, and this duo, in theory, should be able to find kills around the map, but only if they get a lucky bash or two. Vangscore now mid lane, going to TP out. Chain Frost is available. They'll lob it just to be safe.
Okay, I don't even think they needed it there. Zeus finds the kill, but that's all right. A kill is a kill, and well, pretty long cooldown for Seal Kid. It is level 1, but really not the end of the world.
Smoke now, and straight into the pit.
Okay, this is a nice heads-up play, I think. Navi, without their Earthshaker, will probably not be too inclined to contest this. Not even sure if they'll be privy to it, honestly. They don't really have great ward coverage here. Just this one, but there's a little dark spot in the river that they can use to get in there.
Yeah, it's just, without the Earthshaker, what is their team fight? Their team fight is basically just a Shadow Fiend, and Dendy doesn't have BKB yet. He's going to make his way towards the pit, though. It seems Navi want to contest, but it's already too late. Looks like we should see them backing off now relatively soon.
Scouting out with the Satyr Tormentor here, Sacrificial Lamb. Get in there, Goat Man. Give us the vision. and they will just back out. So Aegis goes away the Bristleback, and he's still feeling pretty good. He's upgraded that Vanguard now into a Crimson Guard. And NiP just gearing up to take fights as need be. Era did go Aghanims first on the Queen of Pain, hasn't completed, so no Orchid, but I think this is a great first item, gives him some much needed stats to tank up a little bit, and now he has that ultimate on that super short cooldown.
Yeah, I'm not, sometimes the Ags Rush feels a little lackluster as Queen of Pain, but at the same time, this game I really like it, because if he gets charged by the Spirit Breaker, let's say he's gone for, you know, a more aggressive item, I think Orchid would be the main other option. Necro Book does give you some HP if he wanted to go for that. But with this, even if he gets charged, and even if he gets bashed once, he's probably okay. It's most has been caught out here, though. Jonas just diving in deep for this one. Able to finish him off. Now the charge is coming. I don't know if this is the charge you want to go for, my friend. This is not the charge you're looking for, DK Phobos, and he's just going to let it go.
Yeah, they finally killed that Satyr as well for a little bit of extra money. That was an odd little exchange. That felt the Bristleback like, oh, Havost is here. Okay, let's just see what we can do. He starts stacking up the sticky and goes, all right, Havost, is there a plan here? Is your team a-coming? And that didn't really seem like they wanted to fight, but happy to fight a free troll if that's what it ended up being.
Yeah, I mean, they'll take it if it's proffered to them, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
If not, they'll just drive him off, and they have dropped a sentry in the Dire Ancient, so it seems they want to kind of limit Navi's economy a little bit here. And I think, again, as we talked a little bit about at the start of the game, the one biggest strength of this NiP draft is really their map control. The Zeus plus Night Stalker duo. If they can get an Ags on the Night Stalker in the next 5 to 8 minutes, get a gem, take another tier 2 or so, and then just try to starve Navi out, they could pull very far ahead of net worth. But I also feel like they need that lead, because look at their draft. These heroes just do not break the base very well. They don't have much tower killing potential. There's no troll on this team. The physical damage is a Bristleback who's gone Medallion Crimson Guard, very tank-oriented build, so it may be a while, even if NiP are ahead, before they can even think about taking that big high ground objective.
Yeah, definitely. Now we have a pretty good high ground defense lineup. Earthshaker, one of the best heroes for that. He will be scouted out in the bottom lane. Yeah, Limp finds him. Hanskin on his way down. It is nighttime. Ultimate comes out. Vanscore, he's in a lot of trouble here. Fissure will buy him a little bit of time, but once it expires, they pop forward, and Limp gets a freebie there. Seneko, look at this. The value sentry unblocks his Ancients and gets vision control back in this area of the map. So yeah, that was a pretty short-lived victory for NiP there.
That was a twofer.
Yeah.
They charge on the Queen of Pain mid. Now, Era is not invincible with the Ags. He is still killable, but it's more that they don't want to overcommit on him and then get caught with the Zeus ultimate, the turnaround that maybe comes from a buyback on the Queen of Pain if need be. They're going to charge top instead here. He's the Aegis carry, but man, he is in deep. Jonas could potentially die twice.
He uses his Crimson Guard straight away, and will just try and book it back to the tier 2 in the top lane. Not even an access point for his teammates to TP to. I think he's just dead.
So far.
Oh, Dendy mistimes the Requiem. That's a little bit unfortunate. Not like they needed it, though.
I just love they just pile drive into him after the Fissure comes out. Yeah. You see the cow running in, then the troll jumps in for good measure. Sealkid gonna get caught here though. Dendy may find another freebie laying into him. He's gonna get the kill. They're gonna give up their Aegis. They may even lose more here. It's 3 heroes going down plus the Aegis. And 2 cores as well. Can Era clean up and turn this? If he gets bashed, he might even die. Oh. Era, you are playing with fire, my friend.
That was a strange call from NiP. They ended up picking off the Dazzle off to the side, and then, of course, the Earthshaker that we saw at the tail end. So, well, there's your buyback, Zeus, and that's the end of the mega kill streak for the Shadow Fiend. So, makes it a 3 for 3 with the buyback.
All right. Well, definitely a worthy buyback, ending the streak and killing off the Shadow Fiend. But it says Zeus lost gold off of that, but maybe the fight. I'm not sure if the fight.
Yeah, that's a little hard to believe, ending 500
Maybe it's counting his earlier death as well as the buyback.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not exactly sure, but I mean, that's still a great buyback overall. Hanskin gonna get caught out bottom though, but now Bristle Boss has arrived, and Havost just wants to get the hell out. The phase boots are cooling down. Hanskin just one more void. Should be enough to secure it. They don't even need it. Era's here to clean up Havost from the rear. Green and Vang scores well. Fissure comes out far too late. Our Chinese observer has some commentary and thoughts on this situation. It'll be DK Phobos' turn to die. Oh my. Navi, as soon as they seem to seize a little iota of momentum, they just give it right back. Perhaps better to say NiP rested away, but
it felt like that Zeus buyback just really threw him for a loop as soon as it happened. Okay, they got Dendi, and then there was initiation down bottom. Both teams have been really turning up the aggression and seemingly catching the other just a little bit off guard. NiP now move into the tier 2 down bottom, holding on to about a 5K experience edge. Very minor gold lead, somewhere around 1,500 or so once this tower goes down.
It's kind of the nature of the draft, so I think they just lend themselves towards chaos. Like, you have the Spirit Breaker charging all over the place. Like, the role of the hero, his job is to sow chaos and just try to reap the whirlwind. But, I mean, as well as a Zeus Night Stalker. These are very mobile heroes, give you a lot of vision, as our Zeus is going to be scouted out here by Saniko in the Radiant jungle.
Limp needs to be pretty careful here. He does have a Yule's Scepter, but
they get the charge
he's
off.
getting charged, and
could be a dieback here for Limp. He has the Yules to cancel charge, but they may get him with raise. One off the mark. There's your poison touch, but back up inbound. He could just throw out that Yules if need be. He tries to pop the ultimate instead, ends up going down. Not able to interrupt DK Phobos. I don't know if he had great vision of the cow coming, because he's coming like up from this cliff, and there's only that split second where he's down in the river where he's on the same level as you.
Yeah,
and I don't think this ward actually saw him. So
yeah, he had pretty bad vision there. Just unfortunate. Really just greedy, honestly. He's pretty deep in enemy territory. Guess he did have a ward down, so maybe giving him that false sense of security. Dazzle wasn't visible nearby. You can't really count on that, at least not reliably. So they punish it, 17-16. A very even game on our hands. Dendi still the net worth leader, but NiP core still creeping up towards the top. Vost is recovering. He didn't go for the BKB next, but went for the Sanjin Yasha, so getting some additional stats to his name here to go with his HOD. Still not quite on point with that Queen of Pain. Aaron now has an ultimate orb. Probably a Scythe of Vice coming out next, but a couple of options for him there.
Still I'm not sure what else it could be. We see the Scotty Quap occasionally when you're really far ahead if you need a right-clicking like kind of damage dealer. And to some extent, I think NiP will if this game's going to go late, but I think more likely the Hex for now. If Arrow wants to go into those damage items, it's probably a later game pickup when they realize they need more right-click.
And the Hex does give him decent right-click damage. True. It's a pretty good item on Quap just in general, so definitely not a Linken's game.
It's good versus Dazzle and Earthshaker. Supports that you just want to blow up before they get off those team fight changing spells. The Echo Slam Fissure, the Grave, most likely the Weave will come out before the fight begins. But yeah, I think Hex could be a game-winning item here for NiP.
Absolutely. Limp all by himself down at this bottom tier 1 tower. Navi are all grouped up. Looks like they want to start team fighting. Use this mech and use all their ultimates as well. They'll just go right into this tier 1, and with Battle Trance, it's pretty damn easy.
And now the cow on a little journey through the middle lane. He may get intercepted here, though, by a hasted Bristleback. DK Phobos wasn't ready for this one. He just wanted to charge the Lich, kill him off in the river. Ain't gonna happen.
They take him to the Slaughterhouse LD, the Sonic Wave to bring him down. Now Saneko, does he get dove here? No, Jonas does not want to go for it. Instead, down bottom, they try to defend the tier 2. A lot of TPs coming in. They really want to punish Havost, but Vanscore lining up for a big fissure, blocks him out, but Chain Frost will interrupt Havost. Does not stop the Earthshaker, but they get that prize troll, and they defend their tier 2 in the bottom.
Navi are just not respecting NiP's vision and rotations at all. The Zeus continues to cause problems for them. They go for these TPs out, and he just pops his ultimate, chucks out a Thunderbolt, and, well, you can't run from heaven. That certainly has been proven true here.
Perfect timing to take a defense like that. Roche responds just as Havost dies, and this is a free Roshan for NiP. Steps in the right direction, and their lead is actually jumping up pretty quickly now, up to about 4K net worth and nearly 7,500 experience. This snowball is rolling and grabbing momentum for NiP, as Jonas is the one to grab the Aegis once more.
They've done a great job of catching up, and I think the scariest item is not anything that these cores are getting, but it's Handskin with his Aghanim Scepter Night Stalker. Next step, Gem, at which point Navi are going to struggle to get out on the map. The Spirit Breaker is going to have a hard time catching heroes off guard with charge. It's going to become a very difficult game for Navi from that point, and it's not just the Night Stalker, it's the Zeus as well. Lich, does he have money for a gem? He's very close. I think that will be Seal Kid's next item pickup, unless they want a core to buy it, but I think more likely Seal Kid the one to grab it. The gem is just game-changing with this Aghanim's Night Stalker.
Yeah, it really is. It's always a sad sight to see those opposing gems when that Aghanim's is there, and they just get that little tiny bit of vision. Always feel like it's just not worth warding at this point.
Don't waste your money on wards. You're just feeding them these little chunks of 50 gold here and there. You know, it's not even worth it.
Very, very hard to deal. What is the way to deal with the Aghanim's Night Stalker?
Get his gem. That is that is the way to deal with it.
Pick on the weak ones and find the vision control back. All right. I like that.
Normally he's the gem carrier, but as long as he is a gem and it's nighttime, like, good luck catching them off guard. The other thing is, even if they go for smoke gank, Zeus can just ult anyway. So it's not just the Night Stalker. It's this duo together that make it almost impossible for Navi to get things done if NiP play it right.
They find Dendi in his Ancients. He does have a BKB here. I don't think he wants to use it defensively, but he may have to. Indeed he will, as the ultimate from Zeus comes through, pops the mech, and
they're still diving.
They still go for this. Seneko, he does have a maxed out Grave, but they've got the silence there. One more auto attack ought to do it. They get the kill on the Shadow Priest to get things started. They will pay with their Aegis. Not the greatest trade out of the gate.
Dazzle for an Aegis is actually not that bad for Navi. They're not going to be happy giving up the kill, and
BKBs are on cooldown though, so yeah, they still can't really fight that well. They get a tower out of it. That's a pretty good little trade here. Could even possibly get two. They head up towards the top. Nope, just taking the high ground to scout things out and look for that right angle to initiate. Navi are also holding on to a glyph. Still 30 seconds on the BKB of Dendi.
Yeah, like you said, I think the BKB is the item that's going to prevent them from holding this tower. Dendi tries to, though. He wanted to go for a blink out. Yule is not going to be enough to save him in the end. It just sets up for NiP, and they'll end up getting the kill. Now they leap forward with Era. Jams in a second kill. Gets bank score as well. Oh, from bad to worse here for Navi. It's one thing to lose your Dazzle for an Aegis, but now 2 kills freely taken. There's no buyback on Dendi. There's no buyback even on the Shaker. They're dead for 30.
No.
They're 3v5. They may lose racks.
They have a glyph, but what's the glyph going to do? Havo's not manly enough to fend this off himself. If he had a BKB, maybe he could charge in and at least have 10 seconds of chaos here in this fight, but he just has an Ogre Club towards the BKB. Now the tier 3 in the mid will go down. Glyph has already been deployed. This will be a lane of barracks. The Space Cow not even in the base. He's split pushing in the top lane, or at least trying to. Ready to charge in if a fight breaks out, but it looks like these barracks will go down way before Dendi comes back to life. The Earthshaker's here. He does have a Blink Echo Slam, but NiP get the barracks and they make it out of the base. Not getting punished. Navi just not handling that whole initiation right, and what started off as just a quick pick on the Dazzle for an Aegis quickly devolved into a huge victory for NiP, and now they really have control of this game, breaking into the 5 figures of net worth and experience lead.
Yeah, they did not go for the gem in the end. Seal Kid opts to complete his 4 staff, but you know, hey, I guess if they're winning the fights anyway, maybe they don't need it. Right now, you look at Navi, they've got 0 wards on the map.
Yep. Well,
and these heroes need a lot more farm. They're just not getting the job done right now.
Era. Invisibility rune on. He does complete his Scythe of Ice, so now there's a Hex on this Quap, gives her some more kill potential, and, well, is always scary. Eyeing up Havost, and you see Era pulling out his calculator here, thinking about it.
Oh, this is the death of Havost if he gets caught out, and he will. The Hex to start, the Void to follow. Quapple with the Zeus there as well. An easy takedown for NiP, and they want more. They're going to use the Yules of the Zeus here to set up on bank score. He gets Grave for now, has an Echo Slam, but really wants to be holding this in case they get sieged in the base. Will get smacked down by the Bristle. 3 more deaths racked up for Navi, who seem to be just collapsing psychologically more than anything else here in the mid game. A lot of mental mistakes, just getting caught out of position repeatedly, diving too aggressively, and NiP there time and again to punish them, playing more like a 5-man unit. And now this could be 2 lanes of Rex. And if they get 2 lanes of Rex this early, almost certainly the game.
Yeah, no buybacks on the 3 heroes that are in the grave right now. There's no glyph either, and NiP can siege this pretty quick. Jonas in the front line for those Warpath stacks. He is scary. Frost Armor also just buffing up this entire NiP team. They find Dendi mid, Blink Hex to start things off. He's got a BKB, he'll use it, but he's already so damn low. Is it enough to stay alive? Right clicks alone will find the kill on the Shadow Fiend. Now Seneko TP's in, gets a shallow grave, but what's it gonna do, little Dazzle? Maybe buy you a couple seconds, but you're still slated for death. Down he goes. No, Jonas just poking. There you go. Havost comes flying in with the axes. He does get a kill on the Lich, but Lich will turn it around with a Chain Frost as it bounces around onto the Earthshaker. Now Havost falls. No buybacks, and this should be the GG push. NiP, after a slow start, will find a victory here in game number 1.
They're going for the throne. Jonas is like, let's not waste any time in blasting Navi out of this game, and it is NiP up 1-0 as we get ready to head into game number 2.
Wow.
Radiant's middle
You know, that first 10 minutes, I thought Navi, they came to play. They've got this high-octane aggression. They're not giving NiP any time to rest. And, well, looks like NiP just cool, calm, and collected per usual. Turned things around. Very, very impressive.
That is not a draft that you can overextend against. Navi played very YOLO in the mid game. There were a lot of times where there were some fights where NiP just caught them off guard, but there were a lot of fights where Navi just take very risky plays. I mean, you look at like the Spirit Breaker charging down the river from bottom to mid with no idea if NiP have wards, and then tries to back off, gets caught out and punished. That I feel like that scene happened more than its fair share of times. And well, ultimately, NiP able to punish the mistakes, take game one. They were favorites coming into the series, at least for me, I believe, with the bettors as well. And I don't think...
If there were bets.
If there were bets. Well, I guess there are other betting sites if there's not Dota 2
That's
launch
true.
bets.
That's very true. If there were Dota 2 launch bets. But now Navi, one loss away from elimination here in the Summit 3. They may be holding it together for that redemption vote if they can't take a win in game 2.
Well, them Cloud9, you know, no guarantees that Navi will win that anyway, so...
All right, so we're going to have a quick break, then Game 2 right around the corner, folks. Stick around because the cast is just heating up. Plenty more Dota 2 coming your way here for the Summit 3 Phase 2 of Europe, presented by Gigabyte.
I was actually one of the first people to sign up on Vulcan. It's a chance to not only win money, but do it in a way that's like really exciting.
I entered in one $10 contest, was feeling, you know, a little lucky that day, and actually I won $400.
When I tried out for the Caitlyn headshot one, that's only $10. I won $1,000.
The prize pool is up to $1 million.
Play on Vulcan, watch League, get paid.
Support this channel by checking out Vulcan.com. Use the invite code below.